Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Champions video. Today I have Galaxy's Most Wanted. Picked this up today at my local game store. We're going to go ahead, get this open, going to show it contents. I'm then going to turn the camera off, going to probably test out both Rocket and Groot in a game. And then I'm going to let you know what I think about the decks. So again, this box includes Rocket and Groot, as well as, it's saying 5 scenarios featuring, and it's on the back here. So we have the Collector, we have Ronan, Nebula, and Drang. And I'm not sure who the 5th encounter is, because it looks like I was told there was 2 Collector scenarios. I'm not sure if that's the case. But again, Collector, Ronan, Nebula, and Drang. Of course, the pre-made hero decks in here are Rocket and Groot. We have the other Guardians showing up later in the year. I believe Star-Lord. Rumor was Star-Lord and Gamora are supposed to be coming out in the middle of May. So usually it's the first week of the month for a release. But it looks like they're pushing that back a couple weeks. But it looks like we're getting both Gamora and Star-Lord on the same day, potentially. So hopefully we'll be around to get that. We're going to get this open here. So I'm going to show you the contents of the box. Then I'm going to get the cards sleeved up. At least the hero cards. I might do the campaign because I think it is a campaign similar to the Rise of Red Skull, and I believe that there's cards that you earn throughout the game to make the other encounters easier. So here is our rulebook for Galaxy's Most Wanted. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we have some new keywords in here as well. We have some new. It looks like there are 2 collector scenarios. It looks like, so it looks like we have Drang, the Collector, another version of the Collector, Nebula, and Ronan the Accuser. Rocket and Groot. So new keywords are Hinder X. It says when a card with the Hinder X keyword is revealed, place X threat on that card. There's Insight X. I think Insight's I think that showed up in may have been Rise of Red Skull. But when a card with Insight X is revealed, place X threat on the main scheme. There's a new card called Patrol. While any minions with the Patrol keyword are engaged with a player, that player cannot thwart the main scheme. So basically, if you have these minions dealing with you, you have to deal with those minions before you can deal with the main scheme. There's Permanent. A card with the Permanent keyword cannot leave play. I think the Milano might be one of those because the Milano is one of the cards in the campaign. There's Piercing, Range, Setup. We've already done that. There's Stalwart is a new one. So a character that has the Stalwart keyword cannot be stunned or confused. Pretty good. Team Up. Team Up we've seen in the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch decks. We've seen it also in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Villainous. When a minion with a Villainous keyword activates, give it a face-down boost card. I think that's been around for a bit. And then there is a Victory X. So Victory X is when a card with the Victory X keyword is defeated, place it in the Victory display instead of its owner's discard pile. Victory, let's see, display is Victory display is an out-of-play game area shared by all players. Cards in the Victory area display follow the standard rules for out-of-play cards. I think the Victory display is related to the 2-week collector probably. There's a new icon which is Amplify, which is right there. Amplify. The Amplify icon increases the number of boost icons on boost cards when a boost card is turned face up during an enemy activation. Add 1 additional boost icon to the card for each Amplify icon in play. So if you reveal 2 boost symbols and there's an Amplify in play, it just adds another boost to that activation. New mode of play. Let's see what that is. There is campaign mode. There's campaign log. There's specific cards for the campaign, similar to Rise of Red Skull. Cards from the encounter sets. There's those. There's a market. So units in the market. Let's see. Units and the currency used in the Guardians of the Galaxy, while not strictly the reason the Guardians do what they do, it never hurts to turn a profit while they're always looking for the opportunity. So it says, between scenarios, players can spend the units recorded in their campaign log to add cards from the market to their deck. Cards that can be bought this way belong to the campaign market deck building classification and have the text unit cost X in their text box. So I did see some of those cards that were spoiled. I didn't do reviews of them because I wasn't really sure how they worked. But basically, you get units, which I guess are money. You can then spend those cards to add them to your deck. So you'll be, looks like in this scenario, you're actually earning money throughout the campaign, and you can buy cards to go into your deck with those. Then it says to add a card from the market to your deck, choose a card with a unit cost value equal to or less than the number of units recorded in your unspent units box. Um, okay, subtract the units cost of the value. Write the card's title in your player column in the market thing, and now you may repeat this process as many times as you wish until you have no units remaining. So basically, you can spend money on cards, basically. Expert campaign, persistent damage, that was a thing in Rise of Red Skull as well. If you went with the expert campaign, your damage would roll over. And then we have this spread here. This is the start of the campaign. So it's going to basically, that'll tell you. So scenario 1 is the Brothers of Badoon. There's the rules and the setup for that scenario. Scenario 2 is infiltrate the museum, so I think that deals with the collector. Scenario 3 is escape the museum, probably learn some collector scenario. Nebula is the 4th scenario, and then Ronan the Accuser is the 5th scenario. And then looks like we have a Groot protection deck and a Rocket Raccoon aggression deck. So those are the pre-cons for Rocket and Groot. So there's the rulebook and the campaign notebook, basically. We have another rulebook. Is this the same one? That's interesting. It looks like I actually got 2 copies of the rulebook for some reason. Hopefully that doesn't mean that. Hopefully that means I didn't lose out on something else. Here are our cards. So I think these are our Rocket and Groot decks. So there's Groot, there's Rocket, and then I think here are all of our campaign cards here. So we have these 3 decks. So it's going to take me a while to sleeve all these up. Like again, I'm probably just going to test out Rocket and Groot first, probably against one of my like a different villain, and then I will eventually do the campaign. Once I do the campaign, I'll probably keep notes on the campaign and do a video showcasing, or at least kind of saying like how I did during the campaign. Don't know if I'm going to be using Rocket or Groot in the campaign. I definitely have a Captain America deck that I really like that I might try the campaign with that. But I'm definitely going to be giving it a shot with. I'm going to be trying Rocket first and then Groot. But they both seem like they're really, really fun characters, really thematic. So I'm going to go ahead, get this deck sleeved up. Going to get this deck sleeved up as well. And then I'm going to report back with how well these decks did against, probably going to test them out against Rhino, because that's kind of like my baseline testing, is just to see if I need to change anything. If they do really well against Rhino, I might play them against stronger decks. If they don't do well against Rhino, I'll probably have to modify the decks. But so again, we got Rocket and Groot. Going to test them out against Rhino. We're going to flip the camera around, and we'll be right back with that. Alright, and we are back after our first game, or my first game played with Rocket. I played a second game with Groot. I won my game, the first game with Rocket, and I lost the game with Groot. I was testing it against Rhino. So Rocket, very cool card, or cool character. I was able to get several weapon upgrades into play, including the particle cannon, which does a lot of damage. It does 4 damage. Comes in with a couple charge counters on it. But I was also able to get in the battery pack, which allowed me to keep that particle cannon online. So, battery pack comes in with 2 counters. You exhaust it, you move a counter from it to another tech upgrade. So I kept the particle cannon basically loaded all the time. With that, then I also had the hand cannon in play. So whenever Rocket attacks, you can exhaust the hand cannon to do +2 damage. I also had Rocket's pistol in play as well, which is you basically exhaust it to just do additional damage. And I was also able to get off Shroud of Freyda with him, where I was able to heal 4 damage, because I used an upgrade to do damage to an enemy, and then I used his basic attack to attack as well, and I was able to heal damage with that. I was also able to get out Groot in that game too, the allied version of Groot, who is very, very good. So he's 3 resources, he has 6 health, he can thwart and attack. I think it's 1 thwart for 1 incidental damage, and 2 attack for 2 incidental damage. But whenever he defends against an attack, he heals 2 damage. So I was able to take 3 fairly large attacks with Groot, because he would heal those 2 damage from the attack. So I was able to have him survive those attacks, while I was able to keep Rocket readied, and was able to just ping damage off with his own attacks, with his own with his upgrades. Like I said, I was able to keep the particle cannon online, which I think I got like 3 uses out of particle cannon at one point, which is a total of 12 damage kind of spread out. With that, I was able to actually reload once as well, which allowed me to ready the tech upgrades. So I was able to use the particle cannon, reload, use the particle cannon, and use the particle cannon again, and then also had the battery pack, so I was able to keep the particle cannon still ready for my next turn. So I won with Rocket, played with Groot, started out very strong with Groot, but was the problem with Groot is the what are they called? The growth counters, because those you get them, you can get them kind of like beginning of the game. You can take an action to just give him two. He has several. He has a card that gives him a couple as well, but there's a lot of cards that he has that require the spending of growth counters, and then also whenever he takes damage before he takes damage on himself. He takes damage from his growth counters. So later in my game with him, I started out very strong. I got into the I think I got Rhino down to like maybe like 5 health in the second phase after Rhino had healed a couple times with the cards that allowed him to heal damage. He had the card on him that allowed him to it allows damage to be placed on it. So basically, it's like a temporary 5 additional hit points. You put the 5 damage on there and then discard the card. So Rhino had that on him. But I eventually later in the round, I was running out of growth counters and had a bunch of cards in my hand that said this card, removes X threat, or that's the number of growth counters you have. Well, I have 0, so that card is useless. I had one that did. It said this card does this X damage, where it's equal to the number of growth counters. Again, I had 0, so that was kind of like a dead card as well. So I eventually was. I didn't lose to damage. I just lose to threat on the scheme because I was able to. I had both. I think it was break in and take in was in play, so I was getting 2 encounter cards. So I had multiple minions coming in, but also there was multiple chances that like he would scheme with the card with Red Skull on it. So Rhino doesn't scheme for a lot, but basically you do that a few times, and you're gonna run out of or put enough threat on that scheme to make the villain win. So I think Rocket or Rocket Aggression is a good deck. I might mess with that a little bit, but I think I'm gonna probably rebuild Groot. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe Aggression, maybe Justice. I think Justice could be a good build for Groot. So I might try Justice. Groot would be good. Protection is fine, but I felt there were some good cards in Protection in his deck. There's one, I think it's called Fighting Pit, which is you deal either 2 damage to a villain or 5 if you have basically if you haven't taken damage or you're healed up to your hit point total to start the game with. So I had that go off a couple times for about 5 damage each, but I don't know if protection is the best build for him, so I'm gonna have to experiment with Groot and build that. I'm probably gonna start the campaign within the next like week or so. I may restart the campaign once some more of the Guardians come out. I'm probably gonna try the campaign with Captain America first, but I think it's gonna be more thematic if I do it with some Guardians characters. So right now, basically, my only options are Rocket and Groot if I want to do that. Like I said, I'm probably going to start with Captain America, and then if I finish a campaign, fine, I can restart it with Star Lord, Gamora, and Drax come out. But I think this is going to be a campaign that I might run multiple times. I only did the Red Skull campaign once, just because it was already an Avengers themed campaign, and a lot of the Avengers that I wanted to play as were already out. So Captain America was already out, Iron Man was already out, Thor and Hulk I think were already out at that time anyway, because yeah, Hulk came out in August, and I think it was September for Red Skull. But right now, the only Guardians characters out are Rocket and Groot. We have Star Lord and Gamora coming supposedly in May, and then I think Drax is maybe June or sometime in the summer. Don't know if they're going to do any other characters beside those 5. So again, Rocket, Groot, Star Lord, Gamora, and Drax. I'm thinking maybe they do Mantis, but I'm not sure if Mantis is just going to be maybe an ally card. I can see her being an ally, but also see her. I can see them working her into a full deck as well if they wanted to. But that's my initial impressions of Galaxy's Most Wanted. I think the campaign is going to be fun. Rocket seems fun. He seems good. I'm going to definitely have to work on Groot. But Groot has some very cool abilities, like that Death Focus. I was able to get Death Focus out of him. And a lot of the cards in his deck are superpowers, so that's going to work on a lot of his cards. I think Death Focus is going to be like a staple in any deck that has a lot of characters that have superpowers, like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. But Groot has a ton of superpowers. They are, again, all kind of revolving around growth counters, or most of them revolving around growth counters anyway. But Galaxy's Most Wanted, pretty fun so far. Gonna definitely try the campaign out in a little bit. Probably once I do the campaign or I get into the campaign and get enough played, I'll probably do a video kind of with my thoughts and opinions on the campaign. I really like the Red Skull campaign. I thought the how they added you could add cards to your deck to make your deck stronger were cool. I got some. There was like a cannon in that I got in that campaign that allowed me to basically just like get rid of a bunch of minions all at once. I had an upgrade on Captain America that said whenever I defeat a scheme, I get to draw a card. And when you're fighting Red Skull, he's got a lot of those. He has his own little side scheme deck. So gonna have to wait and see how the Guardians campaign pans out. But that's gonna do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching, and take care.